shall begin. Check, check. Check, check. There we go. Alright, we have audio. What's going on, guys? Strange Productions here. Welcome back to another episode for you store today. We are doing Amtrak number 8, the Empire Builders. We're going to be running from Shelby, Montana to Harvey. This is a 104-mile route. We're going to do full length on this as we go into Harvey. Hopefully we're in the right spot. If not, well, we'll see. Everything should be set up right. So without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so again we're going to be playing try this again. We're going to be playing Amtrak number 8, the Empire Builder. Up here, let's get our boards on. Lights on in. There's our fleet. We got 3 coaches, 1 sightseer, dining car, 3 sleeper cars, 1 baggage, and 2 Amtrak General Electric E42 Genesis locomotives, all capable of 110 miles per hour. However, we are going to go only 79 miles per hour as our top speed. Alright, everybody is on, so let's go ahead and get her going. Alright, departing Shelby, Montana, we have a clear signal. I'm going to have to speak close to the microphone here so everybody can hear me. Then once we knock down that clear, we'll be able to go maximum authorized speed of 65 till we hit that 70 board, and here we go. Level out the power, and full power. We first have a 1% hill to climb, so we're going to climb over that, and then our top speed up the hill will be 79, but for now, as we pass the sign, we are 70. Where it says P70, that is our speed limit. Plane train simulator, and there's a train going right by the apartment right now. It's not like it's going into Kansas City. 79 mile an hour speed limit. My English is so bad, I need to go back to kindergarten, apparently. And we're going to watch our speeds. We got this 1% grade. 68, so I'm going to ease off on the power a bit. Alright, another clear signal. And there's our 79. Once we pass that 79, our entire train will be able to go maximum authorized speed. Clear block. Alright, 79, here we go. Easing off the power here since we're going to go downhill. Another clear block. There's our first defect detector, milepost 1059.3. It's a hotbox detector and a dragging, which we just cleared over. Of course, in the game, it's not. I don't have the Searchlight Simulations defect detectors, so it will not talk or give me defects or anything like that. I still got to figure out how to code all that. So maybe in the near future I can start learning how to do all that. So that way I can actually use defect detectors. Alright, coming to the Dunkirk control point, which is the sighting. And we have a clear block through, so line through Dunkirk, not meeting anybody here. that West Dunkirk is a pot signal on the siding track. You saw it's a little signal, which I don't know why that is. So the console we're playing, again, is the Amtrak P42. This is the True Rail Simulation version. Link will be in the description down below once this video gets uploaded to YouTube, as it is recording as well. Alright, clear block out. But yeah, so we're using that, and then we have the Ragano, I believe it's Ragano, viewer liner baggage car, and then all the superliners are from the original P42 Empire Builder pack. However, they have been upgraded, or not upgraded. There's a modification that I have on them. Link will be in the description down below for that as well. And does modify the entire Empire Builder add-on. There's our P42s, there's both of them, plus the viewliner baggage, all the superliners. We're full consist today, 44 axles. And we are just cruising along. One thing I hope is that we don't have any live streaming issues. We shouldn't. Everything else should be set up for it. And with the scenery, welcome to Montana. The RPM's reset so that way it doesn't jump the amps. Alright, another clear block. Clear block's just another term for clear signal, for those who are wondering. So from Shelby, Montana to Harvey, Montana, it's about 104.5 miles. So far we have 91 3/4 to go, so this will take a little bit. But we'll be doing 79 for the majority of the route, with a few exceptions of if we have to go through sidings, once again into Harvey, waiting on traffic, etc. For those of you tuning in, this is the General Electric P42 Genesis locomotive. These are your controls. This is your bell. This blue levers your horn. There's our sander to give the train traction. There's our lead axle sander, which just throws axle to the leading wheels. The regular sander throws all the sand to all the locomotives hooked up. Then here's our speedometers. Our ER is our equalizing reservoir. And then our BP is our brake pipe. Our brake cylinder is 0, which is exactly what it needs to be. RDN, that's the rear of the train, or that's the I'm not sure what that is for a P42. Not sure. Our rate pressure is 110, which we shouldn't really have a rear pressure, so we don't have a ETD. Our main reservoir showing 140, which is exactly where it needs to be. This is your reverser. This is your combined throttle and dynamic brake control. This is your automatic brake, controls the brakes of the entire train, and then your independent brake, which controls just the locomotive. Alright, we have a flasher. Approach medium. Proceed, prepare to pass the next signal not exceeding 40 miles per hour, and be prepared to enter divergent around prescribed speed. So next signal, we gotta be down to 40 miles per hour, so we got a little ways to go, so we'll continue our speed. Next signal could be diverging, or it could be an approach signal, or maybe it will upgrade or be another approach medium, could be following another train. Who knows? So let's find out. Let's get into our dynamic brakes. We're just using the locomotive engine and the traction motors to reverse the polarity. So we'll begin to slow down with that. Then we'll use our train brakes as well to get down to 40. Brake pressure, we'll do a minimum set. 6 pound reduction, so we'll slow it down a little bit better while using our dynamic brakes. It does appear that we have an approach signal. Proceed prepared to pass, or be prepared to stop at the next signal. Train exceeding 30 miles an hour immediately reduced to 30 miles an hour. It looks like we are meeting somebody here in Devon. Alright, so we'll slow down to 30 now that we have passed that signal. At the same time, we'll start getting off our dynamic brakes nice and easily so we don't stretch out our train too much. Wait idle for 10 seconds, so we allow the dynamic brake control to shut itself off and reset so we can use power again. We'll get up to 30, and then we'll be prepared to stop at the next signal. So that was one method of slowing down or coming to a stop, was using just dynamic braking and also using dynos and air brakes. Another thing you can do for an easy control slow down or stop is stretch braking, where you supply power to the locomotives while braking with your automatic brake, just controlling the train brakes. You can do that as well. The only thing that sucks with these P42s from Searchlight is that you cannot stretch brake. And it looks like there's a train down there coming into the siding, so we'll go ahead and definitely prepare to stop. That was definitely another train. Looks like it might be a stack train. Basically, a stack train is just a container train or intermodal. Alright, we got less than half a mile to go, so in a minute I'm going to apply. That's the alerter, because I haven't touched the control in 60 seconds. Get a little closer to this red. Our lights dim, so we won't blind these guys. During the day, we don't have to dim our headlights, but some railroaders do that just for respect of everybody else. Sit and wait till this train clears up. Hopefully there's something behind it. We'll be able to continue to Harvey. So right now I have a 18-pound set with full independence, and my locomotive brakes are applied, my train brakes are applied, so we're not going anywhere. The headlights are a little bit off, so it's supposed to be dim, but I guess not. So this is our alerter reset switch. That's how we reset it. That's actually the horn as well, so you can control the horn with the button, or you can control with the little pedal. That's what it looks like behind us. That's our control panel. Back there is the engine room door, and then those are the side doors. There's the side of the windows. These are your windshield wipers and windshield wash. Now down here is usually supposed to be the parking lot. So we'll go over these. What you see on the screen, sir. Equalizing reservoir. That's what your reservoir is equalizing to wherever you set your automatic brakes. So right now our E-target is 92. So I set 92 pounds for reduction. So that's 18-pound reduction. And then our brake pipe is going to follow our equalizing reservoir because it wants to equal to that. And again, our brake cylinder, which is supposed to be 73, so that's a little bit off. But that's just how much pressure is on the locomotive brakes. So 42 pounds of cylinder. Again, it's supposed to be 73. RDN, I'm not sure what that is, because at least on freight locomotives we don't have that. Our rear pressure is 92. Usually that happens if we have an end of train device or an EOT or a FRED, ETD, whatever you want to call it. But we don't, so interesting that we have that. Their main reservoir, that's how much pressure is in our air tanks. The air tanks supply all the air for you to apply and release the brakes. For the train, we're at 140, which is full because you want your main reservoir be between anywhere of 120 and 140. And of course, our other screen here matches. There are different other controls as well, but they don't work. Our head-end power for our cab is off, looks like. So that's our head-end power control. And that allows, that's basically its own generator to supply power to the rest of the train. These are the cab signals. They're good for territories that have cab signaling. Basically what these do is they show you blocks in advance of the next signal, so you can slow down, prepare yourself for whatever's happening next. And then there's our true rail simulations for the P42, and then these are the authors. This is the we call it on the freight side the conductor seat, but other places call it the secondary seat or fireman seat. This is the True Rail Simulations P42. These are the contributors to this pack. Huge thanks to all listed above. This pad would not be possible without their help, and I agree. So thank you to everybody on this list. If you want Starbucks, there's your coffee. And that's about it. These locomotives do have window shades that you can use for the sun. This is your radio. Of course, this radio does not work. And then we have different desk lights in the cab as well. And there's our actual cab light. So it does look like we have a clear signal. This train just cleared up, and it is DP, which is distributed power. What it means is there's power, different places where power is distributed throughout the train to make the loads easier. This looks like a Z train with these stacks. So this train's come to a stop. This train's pretty long, so we'll go ahead and knock all the brakes off and start pulling. Knock the independent off and we'll start pulling. There must be somebody behind me if these guys are waiting. Right off the bat, we have a 70 mile an hour speed restriction coming up, so we'll take that 70. This is probably one of my favorite routes to play for Train Simulator. There's our alerter again. Now, an idea that I have that I would love to see is Searchlight Simulations make a P42 or at least do the ES44s. I would love to see something like that. That would be truly amazing. To see the AC44s that they made for Canadian Pacific and the one they're trying to make for Union Pacific, those are amazing too. I play the Canadian Pacific one all the time. It's got realistic controls that I like, all the different sounds and operations within the cab. I mean, they're all realistic, and they get locomotive tours, and that's how they know exactly what does what. I wish there were more features on there, but you know, this is from a railroader's perspective. But the pack that they have is truly amazing. And from a railroader, Searchlight, if you're watching this, thank you for your contributions and all your research to make that come to life. And I truly mean that from a railroader. The only thing that sucks with the power is that I can't just notch off and then the amps will slowly creep down, or go straight down like modern locomotives. Sometimes in real life it does take a little bit. So we are climbing this 1% grade, and we do have a clear block. So basically, this is just a big roller coaster. That's all it is. Just a big roller coaster. I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the camera, but my kitty cat's sleeping on the bed. Just napping. I promise if we watch a movie, we're going to do that later. apply some brakes as we do go downhill a little bit. I could go to dynamic braking, but the only thing is with this locomotive, it takes a little bit for the dynos to set up. Unlike the other trains that I use, but with dynamic braking, I can, you know, wait the 10 seconds, go into setup, let the traction motors go into dynamic brake mode, and then go into dynos. So that's one thing that I don't like about the P42 is it takes way longer to do that because you have to wait 10 seconds and idle before you swap over. And now we'll be climbing this hill, 1% I believe, or at least close. Should be 0.7 to 1%. We'll be going back to 79, looks like. So throttling up is not the problem, it's throttling back that is. But if I want to completely idle, I have to go all the way to idle and slow it down. But of course, I might jolt the train cars a bit, so if you have passengers walking around the train, they might feel a little sudden jolt. But nothing too major, so that's a good thing about that. Alright, here's our 79. We'll be able to go maximum authorized speed once again. Now, why the maximum authorized speed being 79 miles per hour, I'm not 100% sure. I know that's what the FRA has mandated, but, you know, why not 80 miles per hour? You know, why 79? Which, it will be a big mystery unless I can find the FRA book on that, which I'm sure I can. You know, just go to the Code of Federal Regulations under the railroad section for that. So, but I'm not sure. Alright, we have another flasher approach medium compared to past Nexo 1940. So next signal down to 40 again. Probably another approach. Because it was a two-headed signal, that tells me that the next signal will be a control point, which the only control points here are double main, which we'll get to later as we go by the major grain elevators past Chester. And then sidings, so which tells me that the next signal is a siding. We'll be taking the main line. If we were taking the siding, we would have that the double yellow, which is also an approach medium. So the way these signals are coded, right, for an approach medium, if you have a flasher, you'll be staying on your track. If you have a double yellow, you'll be diverging. But they still mean the same thing, and they still mean the same aspect. Now, some different railroad, some territories on the same railroad like BNSF, because we're playing on a BNSF line. On some territories, a yellow for yellow does not mean approach medium, but it means like approach divergent, right? Proceed, prepare to diverge at the next signal. And you won't find that in the rules. You'll find that in the timetables, actually. So we'll go and stretch right this way. approach signal. Proceed prepared to stop at the next signal. Train to scene 30. Immediately reduce that speed. Note, if we have PTC, it will be 40. 40 allows us to do 40 miles per hour, but because we don't have PTC, I'm choosing my HUD as PTC, but we're going to say we don't have it. So we're going to go ahead and reduce down to 30 miles per hour for this approach. We're now in Lothair. West Lothair is this signal we just passed. Now there's my 30, and I just got off the brakes. So I'm going to ease down on the power. See those views popping up. If you're watching, say hey. Let me know who you are watching. Could be YouTube bots trying to find something wrong with my channel. Oh, it doesn't meet community guidelines. You said cuss words, this and that. Well, it's my YouTube. I can say whatever I want. I think I contributed enough. This is a good reminder that if you have Zyrtec, you might want to start. Sound autistic. If you have Zyrtec, you might want to start snorting it because allergies are becoming a pain in the ass these days. I got the sniffles already, my nose itches, and my ears. Usually my ears itch when I have allergies as well. So if you are a railroader or trying to be a railroader, if you're a new railroader, the best advice I can give you, if you become a locomotive engineer, just because you have a speed limit doesn't mean you have to hit the speed limit. So if you have 45, you don't have to do 45. You know, if you're not comfortable with staying at 45, then don't hit 45. Stay at like 42 or 43, just as long as you keep moving, right? You don't want to go too slow to where you know, you're holding up traffic. But you don't want to go too fast, because if you feel like you barely have control of your train, and if you hit that one bump or something, then all your 16,000, 20,000 tons of train just shoves on you, you know, you'll be going over. So you don't want to do that. And there's our red signal, and there is our train we're meeting. Check my headlights, they're dimmed. So right now, coming at this speed with this amount of distance left to the signal, PTC would be screaming at me. It's another stack train. Idle our reverser. Kick it out of here, and we just sit back, relax, and watch the train go by. think there were like 7 viewers on here earlier. That's pretty cool. I'm surprised anybody's up. It's past half the world's bedtime. Well, half America's bedtime. Here in California, it's currently 10:19 p.m. If you're Mountain Standard Time, it's 11:19 p.m. If you're here in the Central Time, it is 12:19 in the morning. If you're back on my hometown on the East Coast, it's currently 1:19 in the morning. Now, this is prime time for me because my recent shifts have been night shifts, so I'm adjusted to night shifts. So usually I go to bed in the late afternoon to the early evening, and then I'm awake till about 6 or 7 in the morning. So that's how it works, unfortunately, when you don't have children yet. Soon to be, but not anytime soon. All that stuff. This live stream is brought to you by Ignite Vapes. No, I'm kidding. Don't smoke. Don't smoke, children. I have my reasons for smoking. Don't smoke. Again, do not smoke. Unless you're me.
Smoking is a bad habit that you should try to avoid at all times. Smoking can cause you brain cancer, lung cancer, leg cancer, or rectum cancer of any kind of sort.
Yes, it can give you lung cancer. If you smoke a lot like me. And if you, depending on what vapes you smoke, you can get popcorn lungs. So. But yes, there's a risk I am taking because I need it. Again, I need it. So 65%, 20% left of fluids. Luckily, I ordered some more. Should be coming in the mail very soon. Get the mail. Going in the mail. I love messing with my microphone. I got a little fuzz thing on it now, so now it doesn't. When I pronounce certain words using the P, it doesn't, cut the sound out. So this is another long ass train. Come on. We're gonna be late. This is our ETA. It's going to be midnight 19 in the game, which is just over 12 hours, which is BS. It's only calculating that. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit our headlights. Get our reverser on. Knock off automatic brake, and here's our clear signal. So once this train goes by, we build up our air, which we just did. We'll go and start yanking. And here we go. Alright, our train is now stretched out. Signal, we're good for 79. Clear block. Now leaving Lothair, which is the station name, or aka the siding name in this case. So in freight service, right? In our timetables, you'll see different names. Those are either signals, those are stations. Just because it's listed under the stations list doesn't mean there's an actual train station, right? There, you may have been a train station, but that's more of a waypoint, right? We call those in the railroad stations. Just like you have exits, right? Think of different exits having different town names and all the other stuff, right? For the railroad, we have different stations, right? And those are the different locations throughout the railroad. 72 miles to go. So, by the looks of it, we'll be there probably in just over an hour. Unless we keep stopping like we do. Seems like a lot of these crossings are missing the cross bugs, which is usually not good. Alright, another clear block ahead. Let's go. On 65. Give me up to 80. 79. 79. Legal term. 79. I love fucking my microphone, sorry. Missing bridge. Missing texture of the bridge. That's my alerter, making sure I'm still alive because I'm not touching any controls at the moment. So things maybe something happened to me, so it's checking on me. It's like, hey, you still awake? If I don't respond to the alerter, if I don't move a control or acknowledge the alerter, then it'll put me in the penalty break or suppression, right? And then the train will come to a stop, then the alerter will reset, then I'll have to answer to somebody. Which I don't feel like answering to anybody on the river. Another clear block. Another defect detector, milepost 103 or what was it? 1030.8, 1030.8. Yeah. Looks like another dragon in a hot box. We'll set up our dynamic brakes as we come down. Looks like I timed everything right. We're going down to 1% grade, so we'll wait for our amps. There's our amps. And we'll basically control our speed as we go down this hill. Another clear block. Now we're hitting the bottom of the hill, so I'll get out of dynos. Speed's going to go up a little bit, and then we'll catch up. So we're at 10 seconds, and then we'll go right back into power. Alright, let's get back into it. Just beautiful. Love that horn. So on BNSF, this is how you can tell the difference between control point you're locking and the intermediate. So this is an intermediate coming up. I'll show you in a second. There's a black board, as you can see right there. There it is, 10272. So that black board lets us know that that is an intermediate, or known as an automatic block signal. The dispatcher does not control that signal. That just tells you the condition of the next blocks ahead. So this block is clear, and the next block will have some sort of proceed indication. It's not going to go from clear and then drop the signal on you, right? If it does, it means something's wrong. You know, the system dropped the signal, or the signal lost connection, or something happened. So, an intermediate signal is also known as a permissible signal. We can actually pass an intermediate signal if it is red. That black number board that you saw, which is the milepost, again indicates that's intermediate or an automatic blocking signal. So, the most restrictive aspect it can give you is a restricting, which means proceed at restricted speed, right? Now, this next signal coming up, this is Chester, right? Control point Chester. The dispatcher controls these signals, so they're also known as absolute signals, which means you have to absolutely abide by those signals. So if you have a red signal there, you gotta stop. And yes, I know I've been speeding a mile or two over the limit, and honestly, that's okay. You know, you're really not supposed to, but you will not get in trouble for that. Now, if you go 5 or 10 over, you might get in trouble for that. But see, no number board on that signal. That is a control point. The dispatcher controls those signals. I'd say no. Welcome to Chester, Montana. Chester is a big grain facility. There are 2 grain loops that trains can pull into. It's basically what a loop is. It's a circle. A loop goes around circles. So the tracks loop around, so that way you can that's how they can load up the trains faster and unload them as well. So you can see coming up on our heads-up display down below, there's Chester Station. That's not an actual station for passengers. I don't know why they did that. But it's there. Clear out. And there's somebody right there. So employee waving us by, checking our train, make sure nothing is wrong. So we already passed the eastbound loop, and now we're about to pass the westbound loop. Another control point signal. There's no number board, so the dispatcher has full control of that signal. So if it displays all red, we have to stop. If it's a intermediate with that black number board, like I mentioned earlier, then that is a restricting signal. Intermediates you can pass, automatics you got, intermediates you can pass, absolutes you got to stop. And some some absolute signals, they don't have any switches, right? Maybe it's not a control point, maybe it's not an interlocking, you know, maybe it's just there. Like on the Topeka subdivision, there's a couple signals out there that are absolutes or control point signals, and there's no switches. You know, there's Reading, CP571, and then I think one at 71.2. I think that's what it is. Those signals are absolute signals, but there's no switches. So why is that? Which I'm not really sure. I know back on the East Coast, from Norfolk Southern, the railroad I started working with before I came over to BNSF, when I ran the Washington district from Manassas all the way up to Alexandria, right? Every signal was an absolute signal. Automatic block signal, we can pass if it's red. So the reason why they did that is because with the commuter trains that stop, there's a few commuter stations between Manassas to Alexandria, and to make sure that no other train occupies the blocks, the dispatchers can set up what's called block protection, which means no trains are going to run around the commuter trains, so that way passengers need to get on and off the train. They don't have to worry about other trains coming by, you know. So let's say the platform is on track 1, right, and a VRE train needs to come on track 2. Well, track 2 doesn't have a platform, but there's walkways to walk across the tracks. So in order for passengers to get on and off safely, why did I do that? In order for passengers to get on and off safely, the dispatcher will set up what's called block protection, and the signals that protect the station are absolute, so no train can pass by those signals, which is a smart idea. It's a safety function, right? It's a safety function that the dispatchers can control on their computers. Even though those signals don't have any switches, you know, we want to make sure that we're not passing a commuter train while they're loading or unloading passengers, right? Especially on the opposite platform. Speaking of, there's our approach medium, flashing yellow. Proceed prepared to pass the next signal line seen 40 miles per hour and be prepared to enter divergent route at prescribed speed, which is what that signal means. As we have seen it now for the 3rd time, as we're getting ready to meet another westbounder and Bulow, which is the next control point signal, or the next station is Bulow. Now the next passenger station, because we're operating Amtrak passenger service, the next passenger station is going to be in Harvey. So we're only making one station stop throughout this trip, which is in Harvey. But the reason why we're stopping is because of these sightings, right? We're passing another train, so we got to stop for other trains. So I'll do a minimum reduction, just apply a little bit of brakes. We're going to stretch into Bulow. We'll hit the signal at 40, unless it's an approach, then we'll reduce down to 30 miles per hour. So let's find out around this curve. We got less than a half a mile to go, and we're doing 61 and coming down good. And little behold is an approach signal, so we will reduce down to 30 now. Now, I don't have to be at 30 at the signal. I have to be at 40 past the signal. Because note in the rule for an approach, proceed, prepare to stop at the next signal. Trains exceeding 30 miles an hour immediately reduce to that speed. Right, so as we pass the signal, I can do whatever my last signal is telling me to do. If I had a clear that I hit an approach, which it does happen, you know, I can hit that approach at maximum authorized speed. But as soon as I pass that signal, I have to reduce my speed as quickly and safely as I can down to 30 miles per hour and be prepared to stop at the next signal. See, signal rules are different from traffic signals, right? Because traffic signals, you have red, yellow, green, flashing yellow, flashing red, right? In most, or not flashing red, I don't think I've ever seen flashing red. Well, I have seen a flashing red, but usually you see them at intersections, right? So a flashing red, but there's no other light that's controlled there, right? I don't think I know it's not crossing. I usually blow for them anyways, because I don't know if somebody can be coming at full speed. It's like a little driveway to get to the farm that's right across to that little radio tower. dynamic brakes going because we're starting to speed up down to 1% grade. So we got our dynos set, and then as soon as it comes alive like it does now, we'll be able to control our speed. Oh, big stretch, Bubba. Good morning. I'll show you the cat in a minute. Look, we've got Manifest coming up. So we're going to pull as close to this red signal as much as we can. We can get off that crossing. It's not blind. 5 cars per minute, so I don't know about that. I could have stopped right there. That's about all I got, so. Here's Kitty. Hi. Say hi to the camera. Ooh, easy. Sit right there. Show the people your butt. Oops, out per minute. Lay down. Can't reach. Clearing the interlock now, so we'll go and put our reverser forward and we'll use our trim brakes, keep our locomotive brakes applied as soon as they clear up, which they just did. Which is weird because we're getting the clear signal and they're not behind their little signal yet. Basically, the independent. So from true rail simulation, the independent brake doesn't work at all. So, because so my independent brake at full, and our train was pushing us down. We're not heavy at all, and so that's interesting. All right, so we have a clear signal leaving. It was a 2-head, which means the next signal will most likely be a control point signal as well to set us up. Now we're finally on that crossing. So we go by with 3 throws, we throttle up. There's our 2 P-42s. There's our baggage car. 1, 2, 3 sleepers. There's our dining car. Sightseeing/cafe lounge. Coach baggage. There's our 2 regular. That's our conscious car. that come through are coal trains. So loaded coal trains are extremely heavy, and everything else is lighter than coal. Second main track 2. So we'll be going on track 2 here at Joplin. Looks like we have a clear. We do. Now we begin 2 main lines, so we'll have to worry about sightings for a while. It's bath time, Bubba. It's a bath. Next milepost coming up is 1008.9, 1008.9 is another hotbox and a dragon equipment detector for main 2, which is what we're on. Main 2. Another clear block. Now is if he wants to get my attention for pets, he'll tap my arm and he'll look up at me demanding pets. There's our defect detector, which again is not going to do anything, it's just for show. Until I get searchlight simulations. Yes, I know you scratch Daddy's backpack all the time. Thank you for showing how you do it. Off of main 1, they have an approach medium. Proceed prepared to pass the next signal not exceeding 40 and be prepared to enter diverging around prescribed speed. So, again, because those are automatic signals, right? They're going to automatically tell you the condition of the next block. Now, let's say a train is lined in the opposite direction. So, we're going eastbound. So, let's say a westbounder is coming on main 1, which is the track to the left of us, right? If a westbounder is coming through and the track is lined, well, the signals that are facing east for that signal, or for that block, are going to be red, right? They're going to be red because the train is lined for the opposite direction. Again, telling you the circuits of the blocks ahead. Automatic block signals are the best way to know if a train is passed, if a train is lined, or if there's no train at all. If I heard that. What? What's the matter? yes, it's a crappy idea because we live next to a pond. And we have pools right here, so yeah, it's a crappy idea, but I want the natural air to come in. It's 66 degrees outside right now, so it's just absolutely beautiful. Alright, here comes a westbounder, so that's why the automatic block signals were doing what they were doing, because of these guys. Right? There he goes. Or you put my train in emergency last time. Everything over at Zilla. Grain train. Probably little. That's those butt scratches. And down he goes. Okay. To Rudyard. There's a grain elevator siding, and then there's a grain loop as well for Rudyard. I used to do streams all the time from Harvey, and I'd take a local grain train into Rudyard. I don't know if there's a loop or if there's just siding. I'm pretty sure there's just grain sidings. Can't remember. Looks like there's some cars there, so we'll blow by in case anybody's working around those cars. I don't see any blue flags, so that tells me nobody should be out, but you never know. So there's an improper aspect right there. The bottom is red, but the top is not showing anything. That is an improper aspect. So you must take that as the most restrictive aspect you can give, which would be a stop. So have you ever encountered that? Like this signal right here, we have a clear, right? If it does not display anything, and it's a control point signal or an absolute signal, the most restrictive aspect is a red. And so you would call the dispatcher, tell them what's going on, like, hey, I'm Amtrak number 8, we're at Rudyard, track 2, and we have an improper displayed signal. And they'll flag you by it. So basically what they can do is talk you by a red signal, and you can actually go through that red signal at restricted speed after you have authority to pass stop. So if that situation happens, the dispatcher would tell us, like, alright, Amtrak number, let's see, what's our later, 166? 160. It's like Amtrak 160, you have authority to pass signal displaying stop indication, Rudyard, eastbound, main 2 to main 2. And I would repeat the same thing. So that's not an improper display, that's an approach signal for main 1. That's not our signal, we're main 2. And Bubba went to go get some heat. So finally we had approach, and then the next signal is a stop. funny. I had a foamer not that long ago doing a live stream, or I had one of my videos, and he kept saying I was blowing the horn wrong for all these crossings. And I asked him how old he was. He said he was 12 years old. So first of all, you're way too young to have a YouTube channel. Second of all, how do you know what the rules are for, you know, stuff like blowing the horn? Which there are actual rules. You know, for everything we do, there's a rule, right? So whether it's for headlight controls, blowing the horn, doing this, doing that, you know, speeding, you know, like I'm doing right now, I'm doing 80, well, I was doing 80 and 79, but you know, perfectly legal. You can get away with doing a mile or two over. Is it preferred? No, because you gotta make sure you have full control of your train, you know? However, you won't get in trouble. The only time you get in trouble is if something happens. Alright, going down 72 miles. That's why that board was slanted. See, even blowing the horn like the way I did, right? This foamer's like, oh, you're not doing it right. It's actually long, pause, short, and then long. It's like, well, you're not wrong. However, there's not really an amount of length you have to blow the horn for each sequence. The only thing you need to remember is when you're blowing the horn, and this goes for most railroads, right? When you are blowing the horn, you gotta make sure you do the following sequence: 2 longs, 1 short, and a long for road crossings, right? Clear block. So anyways, the length you have to blow the horn for, do the sequence, is 15 seconds before the crossing, but no more than 20, right? And so that rule is implemented. So I can do like a long, a short, and a long, right? I don't have to hold the long doesn't have to be like, you know, it's got to be 3 seconds for each long and all this stuff. Here's the thing. There are different speeds, right? There are different speeds associated with that. So if you're doing, do a little stretch break. Alright, back up to 79 and quarter mile. Anyways, as long as you follow the sequence, right, there's no amount of length you need to blow the horn for besides doing the sequence for 15 seconds, but not exceeding 20 seconds, right? But how do you know when to blow the horn, right? Because if you're doing 20 miles per hour, right, and a whistle board is like 1,500 feet to a quarter mile before each crossing, right? Obviously, if you're doing like 30 miles an hour and you got that crossing coming up at 1,500 feet, if you do that sequence 15 seconds, obviously you're not going to make that. So there is a specific table that railroaders follow, right, of knowing when you know how long past the whistle board you need to blow a horn for. So you have to blow the whistle at the whistle board. What you call it? Let me start that again. At 45 miles per hour and more, you got to blow the horn at the whistle post until you reach the crossing, or you complete the through the crossing, right? So with that, if you're going lower, how long do you have to wait until after you pass the whistle sign to blow the horn? Well, here's the table. If you're doing like 40 miles an hour, it'll be about 3 seconds. If you're doing 35, it'll be about 6 seconds. If you're doing 30, it'll be about 10 seconds. If you're doing 25, it'll be 16 seconds. Alright, we have a 50 coming up. So we'll be diverging onto main 1 and we'll be turning into a single main track. is that boss signal? Clear. Alright, clear. Oh shit, that's a red. That's clear to the red, huh? That's an improper display of access specs, and now I'm going to try to get my train stopped before that signal. Good thing I caught that. So, in this situation, it's pretty rare, right? Because I have a clear, which tells me I have a clear signal, right? But I went from a clear to a stop. And luckily, I saw that. So now what I'll do is I'll tell the dispatcher, hey, this is Amtrak number 7. We're coming up to Guilford. The signal before that showed a clear. And then we came to the next signal. We had to stop. And then we get that reported. Signal maintainers will come out and figure out what happened, right? So obviously it was either an A, improper signal, which this was, or B, maybe we passed that pause signal and the signal dropped, right? You're not going in the bathroom. Yeah, we'll go up to the signal and we'll just stop. It's a good thing I caught that. Because if I hadn't, we'll be running straight into that train. In real life, that would be kind of scary. Right. Alright, there's our clear, so we're going to kick off. So now we're on a hill. So in order to pull without being pulled backwards, what you want to do is go ahead and give some power before you knock off the brakes. So we have notch 1, we'll do notch 2. Then ease off our independent once we start going in the right direction. Don't touch that. Cats will usually, you know, nibble on your face a bit, you know, just as they're purring. That's their love biting. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. So right now we're giving 50 miles an hour to our rear. The train clears the interlocking. Once we clear the interlocking or the turnout switch, we'll be good to go 79 miles per hour, and we'll make our way into Harvey. Hopefully we won't have any more trains to wait on. So in a situation like that, I would do the exact same thing. It depends on your weight, it depends on your length, it depends on your grade, the condition of the rails as well. You might have a situation to where if you have a train, you know, like let's say you have a 10,000 foot train that's 12,000 tons and the rails are wet, right? I want to get my train stopped as soon as I can. Now, you're not really supposed to hit the emergency brakes for a situation like that unless you see a potential emergency on another train coming at you or anything like that. But as soon as I do what I need to do, my conductor will get on the radio and alert everybody, hey, we just went by a red signal. The signal dropped on us. We tell the dispatcher, hey, we're coming up with the signal, and it just dropped on us. We had to clear and went to a stop indication. We are safely stopped at mile post, and we did go through the signal. or wherever the case may be, right? But no, you will not get in trouble for that because the signal system did not do what it was supposed to do, which was give you a proper indication. Or, like I said, maybe something happened with the rails. Maybe the rails broke and the signal drops on you, right? That has happened before. I've seen it many times. So, coming up on a clear, next thing you know, the signal drops and, you know, PTC puts us in emergency. Because now most trains, if not all trains, are running PTC. So if PTC catches that, it's going to put your train in emergency by itself. Now, if you're in a territory that doesn't have PTC, or maybe your PTC is not working, which is very rare. It happened to me one time. Very scary, right? Because I have to learn the old ways of railroading with knowing your territory, right? There's some territories that you're not going to know 100%. For me, it's the case in Kansas City South to Springfield. I don't know that territory 100%. So if you ask me to run it blindfolded, I couldn't do that. Now, if you ask me to run west to like Wellington, I can do that. You know. Another clear block. So most railroads, they now have what's called a signal awareness sheet, which is basically a signal log. You are supposed to write down every signal you pass, the speed, the aspect of the signal, where you plan on stopping, any notes, any detectors you pass, all kinds of sort. Southbound coming, I can hear them blowing the crossing just down the street. I believe it's Neiman Road, so I can hear them blowing. And I'm going to blow back because I've been crossing myself. On most Amtrak locomotives, there's two different types of horns. You have the quilling horn, or the low horn, and the high horn. So what the difference is, for the low horn, it sounds the horn but at a lower tone. So it's not as loud, but it's loud enough to get people's attention, right, without blowing your eardrums off. And then you have the high horn, which plays, or it sounds the full chime of the horn, so it's loud, right? 11:30 arrival. It's currently 13:05. We have 10 minutes to go for what this thing is, or not 10 minutes, 25 minutes to go. The Amtrak schedule and see what time we're actually supposed to be there. We did park a couple minutes late, so we will see if we made up any time. Supposed to arrive at 1:24 p.m. So we're running a couple minutes behind, but not too bad. So 1:24, that's the goal. That's the objective. Fresno, Montana. Hey, Fresno. No. Come here. You're such a loud purr. Say hi. Back in my chair. Okay. We're going to the front. Okay. How about you don't step on my keyboard and plug my train like you did last time? That's what you want. You want that kiss and attention. This cat is a very needy, super needy cat. big yawn. My goodness. Are you bored? Of all the million toys I got for you, you're not gonna play with any of them? Just want some love it. Scratch my bed. This should be the last sighting before coming into Harvey. Speed warming sign down to 55 and 2 miles. So 2 miles down to 55. We're going down this big hill. This should be the last 1% grade we encounter. So we'll go ahead and get off the throttle here, and there's our 55 mile and a half. Clear block. Down to 55. Just like that. Just like clockwork. What? Is that good? Yes. Yes. Alright, going into Pacific Junction. Final stretch. 5 minutes. Hear me? 5. Gotta make weird sounds for my cat. Another improper displayed signal. Hey, Bubba. And no, I'm not beating my cat. I smacked his butt on the side. He likes the butt pats. Ring the bells, we come into Harvey. And we'll stretch break as we come in. Clear coming in. Track number 8, arriving into Harvey. Let's grab my hand and keep how the boys play. This is how the boys play. I'll show the people how we play. Westbounder looks like it's a switcher, so it might be moving cars around. Alright, so we'll pull the locomotives right up to the fuel pad, and then we'll make sure the last car gets on the platform. We have made it to Harvey, so we'll do a quick 20-pound set. So our mechanic will do what they need. And so, oh, God. See, this is why, Bubba. Great, I think my game will crash. Shit, where's you? Ah, thanks, dude. Now everything looks funky. Hey. Alright, that's enough. Alright, well, that'll be it for this. We have arrived into Harvey, Montana. Recently on this quick drive scenario, as mechanical and all the other crews start working on the train, they'll fuel up the train, they'll do air brake inspection, everything else, get away from that. Have it. It's just air can. I don't like that. Enough. So, that'll be it for this live stream, folks. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, go ahead and leave a like. I don't like what you're doing. Stop that. Again, if you like what you see, go ahead and leave a like. Again, driving into Harvey, Montana. Let's go and look at the statistics and see what this thing has said we have done. Speeding 10 times, but not excessive. We travel 104 miles on a General Electric P42 DC, the Genesis. Number 160 was in the lead, the Pepsi can unit. Entire trip took 2 hours and 2 minutes, so not bad for a good live stream. Targets 101 completed, blah, 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 blah. 104 miles. So, yep, we did exactly what I was going to say. So, that'll be it for this live stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, go ahead and leave a like. If you have any comments, questions, if you have anything, any stories you want to tell, or any suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment down below. So, always feel free to subscribe, and I will subscribe back. I do check notifications at least once a week to see what's going on in the world. Where did you go? You were right there. Now it's time to play. Okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. This is Tranks Productions. Be safe. Good night. Stay safe from all these storms out there. Guys are happening everywhere. So, until next time, see ya.